All right, so we're at level two in terms of personality disorders, lesson five of this entire unit. And we're looking at a really, really, really interesting personality disorder, but one that's also kind of scary. In fact, if you have any knowledge or you've watched or familiarity with some of the criminology shows, say like Criminal Minds, then this personality disorder is going to sound kind of familiar to you because it is the antisocial personality disorder. So first off, antisocial personality disorder again has a criminality component because of the sort of behaviors that we see with this personality. So first off, they ignore the normal rules of social behavior. So they may do some things specifically to be cruel toward others. And matter of fact, antisocial personality disorder can be seen even in children that are pretty young. And we believe that a lot of the antisocial personality disorder can be maybe even genetic, where there's a lack of empathy toward others. Next, you'll also see that they are impulsive, like they just do something because they feel it right then, because they're not thinking about the consequences toward other people. They're irresponsible. They often don't follow through with things they're supposed to do. And here's the key part: they are heartless in terms of like hurting others, and like they just don't mind. Like most of us would feel guilty if we hurt others, and we might even apologize. But someone with an antisocial personality disorder, they're just heartless. Like they don't care. Like sorry. Often they, because of this, they have legal difficulties. The legal difficulties could be kind of two things. One, the more what you might call white collar crime, where they're trying to literally rip people off with scams and trying to get people's money. Or it could be much more physical crime or violent crime, where you really have like people that are killing others, and you get the kind of classic serial killer here with the antisocial personality disorder. In fact, let me talk a little bit more about that with the criminality aspect. There's two terms that you've probably heard of: psychopath and sociopath. Both of them are really subsets of the antisocial personality disorder, and they're both kind of used interchangeably, but there's a little bit of difference between them. A psychopath is believed that the behavior is genetic, so nature. There's something with the brain that causes the person to have almost no feelings toward others, and really they don't have an ability to really connect toward other people, and they tend to be very calculating. They're very manipulative. They may even be kind of charming, but at the same time, they use this in order to manipulate others, not because they care about others. And then the other idea that floats out there is called sociopath. That's an antisocial personality disorder as well. The belief here is that it's more that the behavior is learned from environment. So there's a nurture aspect. So probably there was severe abuse. Interestingly, in a psychopath situation, severe abuse is almost always typical as well. If a psychopath grew up in like a really supportive family and loving family, maybe instead they just become like a really successful lawyer or business person, maybe a little cutthroat, maybe a successful baseball or football player, but they're not criminal. But in an abusive situation, a family where there's a lot of abuse, then the psychopath, sociopath, can be developed. The difference between a sociopath that is learned and its nature, or its nurture more than nature, is that they often much more are agitated and have emotional outbursts. So they're not quite as calculating and manipulative as the psychopath. They're much more like violent suddenly. All right. And then, you get like Ted Bundy. Is he a psychopath or a sociopath? And Ted Bundy is a psychopath because he is his calculating and manipulative aspects that he has. And when we get to the criminality unit, unit five, we'll talk more about Ted Bundy. All right. So another aspect of antisocial personality disorder is that they are aggressive. In relationships, they are often very aggressive and even violent. Not surprising, right? They're kind of heartless. They're manipulative, and so aggressiveness and violence probably fits in that. Makes sense. And I already mentioned this, but they have no remorse. They feel no remorse about the effects of their behavior on others. They just don't feel bad that they hurt you. Matter of fact, they'll be quite, they'll try to make you feel like it's your fault. And lastly, interesting aspect about any social personality disorder is that there's a high risk of substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, pretty high level of substance abuse with antisocial personality disorder. So that's that. That's antisocial personality disorder. Kind of scary, but we'll continue moving on. Make sure you do your practices. Awesome. Thanks.